Hello everyone. This is Venus Cleta here. And I'm sorry, I'm just a tiny bit late. I tripped on a log and I fell down a hill. But I'm here to tell you about recipes that can get you through out on the land when you don't have a lot and you're living off the land, especially if you're a trapper out there. I've actually got an even better recipe for next week for those of you who are trappers or who don't mind eating what you find scurrying around out there right now getting ready for the winter as we are, and I can feel it. But for those of us who love living off the land, love being out there on the weekends, we don't have to do a 9 to 5 job, I've got something here for you, based on stuff I've really eaten, little tale of really stuff I do that have got me here today, because I've survived out on the land for quite some time in isolated areas. And here's what I have for you. Okay, I'm Venus Cleta. I'm here with my silent co-host, Bunny, one of my very first followers out there. Bunny, how are you doing? Shout out to you. But don't worry, Bunny will not be hurt in the process at all. Don't worry. And Bambi's safe too. All right, now, here's what I can tell you. I'm going to give you a recipe for something that we would make at home, or you could make it over the fire. You can make it over a frying pan. A lot of people like doing it with a frying pan or in the oven. And it's something traditional from places like Scotland, but also in Ojibwe and Cree communities that I've lived in, and Inuit communities, and the Great White North, as I call it, where I've lived for many years. And so I bring you something that's the first thing. Once we get out there on the land, and one of my jobs used to be I had to run across the lake because I was one of the younger people carrying the net that we sewed together and put weights on the bottom of them the night before, make sure nothing was tangled. And we get out there, and for about a half an hour you wait for that net to pick up stuff. And some of the kids might run out to check traps that they had set the days before, see if they caught anything. In the meantime, we would set up a campfire, get the coffee going. There's a coffee pot right over there, and we would have that along with this recipe I'm going to give you right now, which would sustain us until or in case you don't catch anything on the land. Because if you are true to the core, you bring nothing with you but your survival gear. You get out there on the land, you eat what you catch. You eat what you find. You eat what you forage. But in this case, we did the foraging. Then we went home and did the baking. And now we're out on the land. We have set up our pot. And if it's the wintertime, honestly, I've used snow. You're not supposed to, but I've used snow to make my water. If you don't have, you've got to break down through the ice to get the water. But in some places, the water's very clean. Other places, you may not know. And if you're desperate, they do say, if you can carry those little water purification tablets in your backpack, they're lightweight. Bring them with you when you know you're going to be out on the land, but just in case. Because most of the things you catch from water that's not clean, you could clear it up once you get to mainland and go to a doctor's office. But why take that risk with your health and your organs are on the line? But if you can't, boil it. That's old fashioned. Grandparents did it. Got us here today. So boil it. So we got our fire going. We knew we need to bring stuff to build a fire. At least do that. Keep that also in your backpack in a Ziploc or an old film canister that's plastic. Anything that's waterproof so it doesn't get wet. There you have it. And then we can do something with whatever's around us in our neighborhood. At this time of year, you got blueberries growing out there. You got raspberries growing up there. There's other stuff out there. There's tea leaves out there, cedars out there. You can make a tea with that if you know how. Anyways, there's barks out there you can make tea with too, or fry down. But anyways, here's a recipe I had all the time. And I would say the local people that I knew said mine was about a 7 to an 8 out of a 10 because they, of course, like how they do it in their family. But I tweak things to be my own liking too. But anyways, I will take that. My 7 or 8 out of 10. And here is what I used to do. I'll tell you after you jump through my hoops and solve my riddles. Here we go. Riddle me this. I'm dry, white, and very fine. Bake with me and the results are divine. What am I? Do 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 do. La 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 la. Riddle number 2. I come in crystals, yet I'm no gem. Use me in cooking or when roads are condemned. What am I? Da-na-na-na, 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 da. Riddle number 3. I'm in every cookie, brown and flat. I add crunch, and that's a fact. What am I? Do 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 do. Pew 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 pew. Not in a red shirt, can't catch me. They're so bad at this. Riddle number 4. I'm sweet and brown, I come in a sack. Too much of me, and you'll snack back. What am I? Riddle number 5. My first word is opposite wedded. My last word is opposite vegetables. What am I? Do 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 do. Riddle number 6. With needle-like leaves and a woody stem, tall, green, and fragrant, added to roast lamb and potatoes for flavor, what herb could I be? Da-na-na, 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 da-na. Riddle number 7. I'm a dairy treat with tang and kick. Add me to the dough and make it thick. What am I? Do 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 do. All right, let's review everything from round 1 and find out the ingredients for this recipe that sustained me in the north, and I got 7 to 8 out of 10 on this from various households. My cooking of this thing that keeps you well on the land with very few ingredients. All-purpose flour, and you'll need 4 cups. In riddle number 2, I come in crystals, yet I'm no gem. Use me in cooking or when roads are condemned. What am I? If you're from the north, you know. Salt, and we'll need a ½ teaspoon salt for this recipe. In riddle number 3, I'm in every cookie brown and flat. I add crunch, and that's a fact. What am I? This is baking soda, and we'll need a ½ teaspoon. In riddle number 4, I'm sweet and brown. I come in a sack. Too much of me, and you'll snack back. What am I? Sugar, and we'll need 1 tablespoon sugar for this recipe. In riddle number 5, my first word is opposite wetted, and my last word is opposite vegetables. What am I? Opposite of what is dry. Opposite of vegetables is fruit. So we need some dried fruit here. We'll need 1 3/4 cups of dried fruit, like cherries or raisins, things like that. Apricots are nice too. In riddle number 6, with needle-like leaves and a woody stem, tall, green, and fragrant, added to roast lamb and potatoes for flavor. I grow this in my garden. What herb could I be? Rosemary. We need 1 teaspoon of chopped rosemary for this recipe. It smells amazing, by the way, when you're cooking with it. In riddle number 7, I'm a dairy treat with tang and kick. Add me to the dough and make it thick. What am I? Buttermilk. Fatty, heavy cream milk. And we'll need a ½ cup of buttermilk for this recipe, or something like that. So, Venus, you may ask, what does this make? Anyone from the north will know. Bannock. It's bannock. I have a really great one because I love adding in strawberries and blueberries together, or raspberries and blueberries together, or cherries and blue. I just like blueberries with red berries. I'll put all the berries. I'll put strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries. I love it. But this one's a bit more on the savory side because we've got that rosemary in it. Now here's how you make it if you're at an oven at home. Preheat your oven to 300 degrees. In a medium-sized bowl, you combine all of your dry ingredients except for the cherries and rosemary. Thoroughly mix them together before moving to the next step. Now that you have a bowl full of dry ingredients, make a well in the center, like make a hole. And this will be for your buttermilk. You're going to drop it right down the center in the hole. You may not need all the flour to create the bread, and this method will allow you to control your dough better. Chop your cherries and rosemary into very fine small pieces. It's a labor of love. Add the buttermilk to the well and begin to slowly incorporate flour from the sides. Do not collapse the sides of the well. Work in a little bit at a time. This allows you to keep control of the dough consistency, making sure there's no lumps. This technique is used in any type of dough making, and it's great to practice. So you'll have leftover flour to coat the table and to use while you knead the dough. Once the mix becomes stodgy and pasty, you can add your rosemary and the dried cherries or other dried fruits. I love apricots, by the way. At this point, you're going to dump the dough out onto a floured surface. Work the dough and add flour until it becomes less sticky and the cherries and rosemary are fully incorporated. You'll know when you have worked it enough and added enough flour because it will stop sticking to the surface that you're kneading on. At this point, you're ready to begin baking the bannock. And I keep the bottom of a planter in my oven for making pizza and bread. And this stone works well with the bannock as well. So you bake the bannock for about 20 minutes until it has started to brown a bit. You remove the bannock and allow it to rest and cool before you start eating it. But I will say this, if you're out on the land with a fire, use a frying pan and some oil. Or the fat from an animal. You keep the lard or the tallow and you use that. And if you don't have any of that, river water, use your water. That's all you need really. And fry it up. Fried bannock's actually really tasty too, I have to say. But either way, baked or fried, it's going to be tasty. Now, if you can store it to eat more later, after the bannock has completely cooled, it can be sliced and served or sliced and stored. I like putting butter on it while it's still warm. It's up to you. Or some people put butter and jam. So if you find berries out there, and like I tell you, this time of year, you're going to find things like raspberries, blueberries out here where I am. I don't know where you are. Texas, I think they have pecans. Or maybe that season just ended. I'm not sure. But you can crush them up in the water, add a bit of sugar, mix it, and you've got a jam. Makes it like pioneer jam. And put that on your bannock. It's going to be lovely. Either way. Okay. Now, if you leave the bannock uncovered, it will get very hard in a couple of days. That's why some people will like dip it in their tea or their coffee to soften it up to be able to eat it later. It will likely last in this state. But of course, freezing it would be the very best way to keep it for a really long time. Honestly, with me, it's not going to last long enough to need to be frozen. But I mean, if you're on the island, you're going to need whatever you can get, right? But if you don't have that option, just keep it hard and dry and dunk it when you need to. It will keep you alive. And the herbs and the cherries or other dried fruit is a sort of nutrition. It keeps it interesting and the flavor is interesting. So it's going to wake up your senses. For anyone suffering from SADD, having new flavors and new smells does help to combat that. So you can feel better. Most importantly, this is the type of mix that can be made on the go, out on the land. And if you store your dry ingredients in a Ziploc bag and your buttermilk in another, like a good thermos, the two can be combined to create bannock when you're on the move. You can cook this food by wrapping the dough on sticks and holding it over a campfire, kind of like having a corn dog without the hot dog in the middle. Hey, and then just do your drippings with the fats of anything you've snared up or, the gravy or whatever you have with you. It's all going to work. You can cook the bannock directly on a hot rock also and leave it for about 3 to 4 minutes on one side and then flip it on the hot rock to finish it for the other 3 minutes on the other side. You got yourself some out on the lamp fried bannock, and it's yummy. And I've had it so often. I love it. I miss it. I still bake it from time to time in the summer times. Love it. All right. Now, usually in my Riddle Me Din Dins, I've got at least 3 recipes going for you, sometimes a bonus. But this time around, I'm combining 2 into 1 because it's all for one dish. Bunny, you might want to cover your ears for this one. Now, when I lived in the Great White North for many years, we often would go out on the land and set up a campfire for coffee and bannock right away, while we waited for fishing nets to do their thing. And at the same time, others would be checking out on their traps around the area. We'd meet back at the campfires in between doing the harvesting or any kind of foraging we might be doing. So this next survival recipe comes from one of those lucky days out on the land when someone finds something in the trap. So here we go. Riddle me this. Known for being a pain in the butt to Elmer Fudd, this creature likes to eat carrots. What is it? Do 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 do. So I had to draw that out. Okay, and I hate to tell you that I didn't know I was eating this as a child, and one day I realized, I put two and two together. I felt real guilty for a time, but don't worry, there will be no animals hurt during this episode. I'll just tell you about what we did to survive on the land. I really did it. We really ate it because otherwise you had no food. There were no supermarkets out there. So please be kind. Anyways, for the people who love to live out on the land, here we go. Riddle number 2. I sound like something you would put in a bouquet. But actually, I'm the white stuff that doesn't work that way. What am I? Do-do-do, 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 do-do. Okay, riddle number 3. Gandhi held a protest to make me by the ocean side. What am I? Do 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 do. Too much of me up your nose, and you'll sneeze till you curl your toes. What am I? Sorry. I have to do it. I feel like being ridiculous today. Pew, 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 pew. Missed me. All right. Here we go. All right. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do it like this. My first word is the opposite of fruit. My second is Olive's last name. You know Popeye's girlfriend? Who is it? What is it? Dun 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 dun. La 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 la. Okay, here we go. I'm the liquid left behind when the bird that likes crossing the road gets boiled. What am I? Do 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 la 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 la. Okay, riddle number 7. I'm the thing you get when you approach a disappearing cow. What am I? All right, here we go. This is the possibly last riddle of the evening. Glad you hung in there. Hope you are too. All right. Okay. I am a collection of dried leaves from various plants found. What am I going to call it? I'm going to say this. Derived from the country where FIFA was born. And let's hope I got that right. You can do the fun finding of the fun facts and confirm or deny in the comments. And see, here we go. La 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 la. Okay, Venus, you're gonna tell me quit joking around. Can you get to the facts? Let's find out. These are actually all the ingredients for 2/2 of a recipe, so it does count as 3 recipes. I just thought I'd put it all together. So here we go. In riddle number 1, known for being a pain in the butt for Elmer Fudd, our cartoon hunter, and it likes to eat carrots. What is it? That's all, folks. It's a rabbit. And we need 1 rabbit. I'm sorry, Bunny, but it's true. I grew up eating it because that's what we found out on the land. So sorry. You need 1 rabbit, dressed, skinned, and cut into pieces. And if you've never skinned a rabbit before, you pull it from the butt down over the head. And if you can do it all in one shot, you got yourself a nice inside-out bunny puppet. Try that out. You've got yourself a new glove. Or a baby has a new little hat. Whatever. But it's awesome. You don't have to waste the pieces. All right. In riddle number 2, it sounded like something you would put in a bouquet, but actually I'm the white stuff. That doesn't work that way. What am I? What do you put in a bouquet? Flowers. So flour, but in this case baking flour would not hold together like that. So what we need is 3 tablespoons of flour and an additional 1/2 cup of flour separated. In riddle number 3, Gandhi held a protest to make me by the ocean side. What am I? He marched to the ocean side in a passive stance so that he could make salt for the people from the ocean. And separately, we'll need 1 teaspoon of salt in one bowl and a 1/2 teaspoon salt in the other. In riddle number 4, too much of me up your nose and you'll sneeze until you curl your toes. What am I? It's pepper. So don't sniff the pepper. So separated, we need a 1/4 teaspoon black pepper in one bowl and a 1/4 teaspoon pepper in a different bowl, separated. In riddle number 5, my first word is the opposite of fruit. That's a vegetable. And the second is Olive's last name. So Olive, the girlfriend of Popeye, olive oil. So we'll need a 1/4 cup vegetable oil for this recipe. In riddle number 6, I'm the liquid left behind when the bird that likes crossing the road gets boiled. What am I? Well, the chicken likes crossing the road. So what we need here is chicken broth. And we need 1 cup of chicken broth for this recipe. If you don't have it, vegetable broth is just as good. But chicken broth, you might like it better. All right. I would do vegetable broth. We used to boil down chives, and if it was a rabbit and not chicken meat we were using, we'd use more of the chives. We'd use more of the onion chives to break down the wild, gamey taste. All right, with a little bit of salt. Now, in riddle number 7, I'm the thing that you get when you approach a disappearing cow. What would a farmer get if they were milking a disappearing cow? Evaporated milk. Ha ha! Basically what you need is a mixture of a 1/2 cup evaporated milk and a 1/2 cup water combined. Now, living in the north and not having the refrigeration and not being able to get actual milk that didn't already go bad by the time it came off of freight, those of you up north who need freight, you know what I mean, waiting on those winter roads, we would get powdered milk and we would add it to water. So we'd use powdered milk. But if you can get evaporated milk, it's going to taste really good with your water combined. Powdered milk, you can put it in a Ziploc bag, carry it with you lightweight on the go, out on the land. I would do it. Okay, riddle number 8. I'm a collection of dried leaves from various plants derived from the country where FIFA was born. Where do we love FIFA? Azzurro. That's right, you know. I used to live in Florence, and I actually would drop the practice ball. For some of the games, they'd always pull a pretty girl off the street, and she'd walk into the center all slow, drop that ball, and Azzurro would start practicing. And that's right, I would do that on the Arno. Yes, I would. They would pick me off the street when I'd be walking home from school in my shorts and my little dresses. That's right, you heard me. All right. So what is this? FIFA? Soccer? Italia? Italy? Italian seasonings. we'll need a quarter teaspoon. Now, if you're making your own, you could do basil with oregano. You could do parsley. I wouldn't mix all three together in the same batch, but things like that, you're going to put them together. I use less basil, but if you love pesto, use a lot of basil. Oregano, I love it. Chili flakes, I would add chili flakes. I mean, that's not really necessarily what to talk about here, but I would do that. I would do that. I have done that. So that's what I recommend. But I mean, everyone has their own taste. So, Venus, you might wonder, what does this make if you haven't guessed? It's fried rabbit with gravy. And the gravy is something, if you've got bannock left over, that you could dip in your bannock in and enjoy. So, the fried rabbit is a flavorful way to prepare this meat, with the added moisture of gravy making it even more delicious. This cooking method can also be adapted to create gravy from various meats, enhancing their flavor. A special side note, cottontail rabbits are very similar in flavor and texture to chicken. And I kid you not, I grew up thinking that I was eating a chicken when I was eating thumper. When I found out, I think I was 11 years old, I was very sad. Because my rabbit bit me, and my dad said, well, give it to your uncle, and then he'll never bite you again. And he said it with a smile, and I knew something was up. Then I counted that there were no chicken wings in the bowl, but there were 4 legs. So did we kill 2 chickens? Because it was my job to feed the chickens in the morning and in the afternoons, and all the chickens were there, and that's when I realized where it was my rabbit. Oh my goodness, I just ate ginger. But it was very soft meat, very nice. Okay, and if you do have chives, the onion, garlic route, it will take down more of the gaminess a little bit for you if you're not into that. Now, you have to prepare the rabbit like this. In a bag, you're going to combine the flour, salt, and pepper. Toss the rabbit pieces in the bag to coat them evenly. Heat the vegetable oil in a skillet over medium-high heat or over the fire. Add the rabbit pieces and brown them on all sides. Once it's browned on all sides, you cover the skillet, reduce the heat, or put it higher up from the fire. So that's how you reduce the heat outdoors. And cook until the rabbit is fork tender, turning occasionally. Transfer the cooked rabbit to a plate, and voila! Now for the gravy. After the rabbit is cooked, add the flour to the drippings in the skillet. So that greasiness that's left behind, use that fat. You're going to mix the flour into it, mix it well. Before the flour starts to brown, pour in the chicken broth, evaporated milk, and water, along with the seasonings. You don't want to put those seasonings in right away because they burn. You want to have a very nice fresh flavor out of them, so they're the last thing I would put in. Stir frequently while cooking over medium heat until the gravy thickens. Adjust the seasonings with the additional salt and pepper if you need to. Serve the gravy over the rabbit, dip your bannock in it, and enjoy. And what to drink? Well, remember, if you've got the coffee going when you start it up with the bannock, keep having your coffee while you wait for the traps to snare something meaty. And for the main, there's nothing wrong with a glass of clean cold water from the stream, or boil it to be safer. To be on the safest side, if you know you're going out on the land, go get those tablets. Most of the things that you catch from water can be solved with a visit to the doctor's office once you get back to mainland into the city and with medications. But why risk your organs if you don't have to? Okay. Tea is also good to have. If you got cedar out there, you can make cedar tea if you know how. I have another recipe for that somewhere. If you check out my Riddle Me Din Din recipe blitzes, you're going to find one of those recipes out there for you. There are different tea leaves if you know the land in your area, which ones you can brew up to make tea. What I would do, I simply smash the local berries that I'm finding in the area and pour boiled water on it. And just have it like that. Like, I love blueberry tea. I love raspberry tea. I love juices that are diluted by hot water. If I'm not having tea, it's still good for you. You need the hydration. There's a little bit of nutrition added in there from the berries. And if you're using the same berries from even the dried berries, if you pour the boiled water on it, it's going to rehydrate and be softer. And it'll still be flavorful and smell nice to have that kind of a tea with your bannock. It complements your bannock and your bunny. Okay. And so, well, it's all up to you. Any will do. Hot or cold water is great. If you've got clean drinking water, you're definitely a lucky ducky out there, because I know that is a challenge for some of the northern communities to get at. Anywho, I hope you do have it. I raise my glass to you guys. I'm gonna keep boiling my rabbit there. Now, of course, the other thing you could do is boil up, if you have a lot of people to feed and you've got only one rabbit and you've got a dog that's been hunting for you, you give half that meat to the dog. You give half that meat to the dog so they'll keep catching for you. But you take that other half, you boil it down for half an hour to get the gaminess out with a bunch of salt. Then you throw all that first round of water out, not by a tree, somewhere where it's not trees so you don't kill them. And then you put more water in with the rabbit meat. You boil it for another half hour while you're also boiling the vegetables in with it and the salt and pepper to taste. And that second round of water is the soup. So you could spread that meat around. You could pull it out and shred it with a fork and throw it back in so it kind of looks like a gumbo, if you want to say. And spread that nutrition for the group. Keep the group going. But if it's just you and your bestie, this fried rabbit with gravy is a great meal. The bannock is a great compliment. It's going to keep you full. And I wish you all the very best. Enjoy your time out on the land. I know it's starting to get chilly out there. This is Venus Cleta. I'm in your corner cheering for you. Wanting to make sure you stay safe out there. Survive well and thrive, everybody. Good night, Msoul, and I'll see you next time. This is Venus Cleta signing off. Time to get back to my dinner. Bon appetit. Bye.